Hey everybody, just wanted to do a real quick video here for Wednesday, tomorrow. We will get back to some more Debian 13 on Saturday's video, so make sure you stay tuned, subscribe if you need to, ring that notification bell so you're the first one to know when that video drops. What I want to do here is I want to go over a couple questions that have been posted on some comments. And so we're going to go ahead and look at those real quick. And I think there's like 4, 6, 5, something like that. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to bring up a terminal here real quick because some of them will require us looking at that. First of all, there was a comment made, if you don't know what a proxy is, you don't need one either. And I said that during an installation video, and I said that as a way of conveying the idea that if you don't really know what a proxy is, you probably don't need to worry about it at that point. Just skip ahead. It wasn't used to gloss over a specific point. It was actually, I was trying to avoid going into detail at that moment in time about what a proxy is. In short, though, a proxy is a piece of software that will take a URL or a website from you, go out to the internet, fetch that website, and bring it back to you. It's an intermediary piece of software. One of the most common uses for it at home would be for like parental controls to help filter out some of the unsavory things for younger audiences. So if they accidentally try to go someplace, the proxy won't let them. The proxy will block it and say, "Nuh-uh, pal, you can't go there." But like I said, proxies are usually intentionally set up, and that's all I meant by that. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. The next one's been asked a few times in a couple different ways, and basically it pertains to DMO or Dev Multimedia as far as using that repo in conjunction with Trixie. And essentially right now, Trixie and Dev Multimedia or DMO is going to be kind of lined up. They're going to be almost exactly the same. One might be ahead of the other by a little bit. And it also varies from package to package. You might have Debian 13 with a newer package than Dev Multimedia and vice versa. Let's take a look at that for a little bit here. Let me crank this up a little bit higher. There we go. So all I'm going to do here is I am going to do a apt policy. This is a command you can use to get some information about a package that's installed. If we do VLC on here, we can see that the installed version is 3.0.21. If we keep reading all the way out here, the last bit of this says it's from the DMO repository. But if you look down here on the version table, the first one here, 3.2.1, is from Dev Multimedia. But there's also a 3.2.1.10, which would be newer, that's actually in Trixie. So that's one for Trixie, minus one for Dev Multimedia. But let's say we did that same thing on, say, Kdenlive, which is a linear video editor. If we look at this, version 2.5.04.3 comes from DMO, but 21.12 comes from Trixie. So this version here is already 6 months older than the one out of Dev Multimedia. That's not necessarily a bad thing. This was also something else was brought up, and it's absolutely true. Just because a piece of software is newer does not mean it's better. You might find that you need an older version of the software. All adding the DMO repository does is it gives you options. It gives you the ability to run newer software, and this becomes more important the older that the Debian release gets. So right now, Trixie's not released yet, so it's pretty brand new, and so are all the packages in it. So right this very second, at the time of this recording, you can probably get away with not even using Dev Multimedia. However, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 2 years from now, all of the multimedia codecs, all of these programs, Kdenlive, OBS Studio, VLC, if you're into multimedia, you will probably want Dev Multimedia repo in there so you can stay up to date on the codecs. and things like that, because Debian Stable is not going to progress and keep up with the latest version. That's why it's so rock solid. It picks a version and it makes sure it works. That way it doesn't crash. So anyway, so that is that. Another one was the question was about BitLocker, and the BitLocker is always on. This was on one of my dual booting videos. Actually, the question was not on a dual booting video, but if you were the person that said, when BitLocker is on, I am always being asked for a key. When I boot into Windows, is there a way to have BitLocker on and not ask for the key every time? That is an excellent question, and that question was directly answered and demonstrated in my latest dual booting video. I will find the link for that for you. I'm not going to answer the question directly because I've already answered it in a video, but I will find a link to that video and I will put it into this in the comment section below this video. Another one is, from a security perspective, it seems questionable to switch to HTTPS for better policy or privacy and protection, and at the same time pull binaries from repos not maintained by Debian officials. And they were referring to the Dev Multimedia repo. And that's absolutely true. And if you watch any of my other videos where I mention Arch, you will know that the main reason why I don't use Arch, and it's a wonderful distribution. I am not saying anything negative about Arch. Arch is a great distro, so if you're sharpening your pitchforks, you just might as well put them away, because I'm not a hater of Arch. What I don't like is when the repo is just a bunch of random people, or seemingly random people that can contribute any amount of code anywhere, and it's not vetted by the official distribution team or by the official development team for the operating system itself. To me, that in of itself is inherently insecure. Am I saying the AUR is insecure? Absolutely not. I'm saying that the idea of the AUR is not for me, for lack of better words. It's not for me. It's not the type of repo that I'm looking for. Now, when we look at Dev Multimedia on here, they've been around for more than 20 years, close to 25 years, and they've been working hand in hand. It's a single team. It's a closed development team. You cannot contribute to that team without being vetted. So you have to be vetted by that repository team. And they work hand in hand with Debian. They're not opposed to Debian. They are there to augment Debian to make it better. And it's a closed development team, so you can't just say, oh, hey, here's my random package, throw it on your repository. It's not a community-driven repository. And I'm also not picking on Arch. I'm just going to back up a little bit. I'm not picking on Arch because Ubuntu does the exact same thing with PPAs. You can load any PPA you want. I avoid them like the plague. I also don't use Ubuntu. I do use Mint. In fact, you'll hear me refer to Mint a lot in some of my videos. In fact, that's one of the questions that's coming up, is about Mint. And anyway, it's the repository. It's the idea of having anybody that can sign up for a free account and upload to your repositories. That is the thing that I don't like. And Dev Multimedia does not do that. They are a dedicated team of developers. It's a closed team. You have to be vetted to be in. And even then, you better believe your code's going to be scrutinized by that development team before it's even allowed to be on their repo and available for download. So that's the difference there. It's not that the repo's third party. I'm not opposed to third party repos. I'm opposed to the Wild West is what I'm opposed to when it comes to repos. Anyway, enough of that. So this next question, it's going to be the last one here, I think. We might go over a couple things here in just a second. But the last question is, do you think Mint is a good distro for beginners? I was thinking of going with Ubuntu. Okay. First and foremost, without pulling any punches and without sugarcoating anything, Linux Mint is 99.9% Ubuntu. So it doesn't matter if you go with Ubuntu or Mint. They are both beginner friendly. Mint just takes one step further and adds just a little bit more polish, and that little bit of polish is aimed specifically at people that's never used Linux before. That's the only difference. If you were to go, I'm going to do it here. This is Debian. This is my main computer. This is not the system that I normally record on. It's actually disconnected right now. This is my main computer. But if I do fast fetch on here, you can tell this is Debian 13. I'm using Trixie, the exact same version of Debian I use on my main machine on a daily basis that I've been recording this playlist on. I'm using the same kernel. I am using a completely different hardware set. That other one is like a $500 Dell Optiplex that you can get off of their website, probably out of the bargain bin. I just needed something that I can record on. I use this machine to record with. Okay, so this is a 10th Gen i9. I have a dedicated discrete Intel Arc A770 card in it. It's got 64 gigs of RAM. And if you notice right here, this is the exact same setup that I have in my install video, the first video of this series. I show you how to install Home on OneDrive, and I put the main operating system on one drive and Home on the other. So I'm not just throwing stuff out there. This is the exact same setup that I'm using here. But anyway, what were we talking about? I kind of lost myself. I remember what I was doing. So on Linux Mint or Ubuntu, if you were to go apt install, hit space and hit tab a couple times, it's going to tell you exactly how many packages are available in all of the repos that you have there. And if you notice, that's 69,428, and that's just with Debian. Ubuntu adds their own packages because Ubuntu is more user-friendly than Debian is. They add their own layer of polish, and then Mint comes by and polishes it even more. So we're talking almost 70,000 packages, probably more so with Ubuntu. Linux Mint's repo is only about 500 packages. So the remainder of that 70,000 package balance comes directly from the Ubuntu repositories. That's what I mean when I say that Mint is 99.9% Ubuntu already. So it doesn't matter if you use Mint, it doesn't matter if you use Ubuntu. As far as my opinion on what distribution is best for new users, is it depends on the new user. Some people can handle things that others cannot. Others are interested in things that are not. Some people, it's like asking, what's the best first car? You can't answer that question for somebody else. You can't. Because different people like different things. My daughter's first car was a pickup truck, full-size quad cab pickup truck. Other people would freak out trying to drive that thing. Other people need like little Honda Civics. That way they are something small and compact, and they don't have to worry about having a turning radius of a bus. Different people are different. What you need to do is start with something simple, like Mint or like Ubuntu. Use it first. If you like it, stay. If you don't like it, try something else. It's up to you to decide what is the best distribution. I cannot answer that question for you. If you ask me, I don't know anything about Linux, but I need a starting point. I'm going to answer Mint every single time because it's a starting point. And it's catered for people that's never used Linux before. That's literally their job. Their self-imposed job is to help brand new users. And it's a wonderful distribution. So anyway, I do have some more content coming up here shortly in other videos. We're going to do a July channel update video that will probably come out on Saturday. And make sure you stick around for that. Subscribe, ring the notification bell so you can participate, because I have some questions I want to ask you, my regular audience. And they're kind of important questions, so your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps the channel out a lot if you were to participate in that video coming up on Saturday. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here, and I will see you all in the next video.